On this episode of Street Rat Garage, we class things up by buying the rare 1973 Corvette. Okay, before we get started with this episode, let me clarify. 1973 is a one-year only Corvette, but it's really not that rare. I'm saying this so the Corvette guys don't jump all over me. But 1973 was the only year that had a chrome metal bumper and a front rubber bumper. That being said, they made about 30,000 of these cars, so 30,000 isn't really rare. But it is a one-year only car, so let's get to the live action. Well, got the car loaded up and I am headed back to Street Rat Garage headquarters. This car has been sitting in and out of different places, the garage, in the driveway, for about 15 years now, maybe even longer than that. The previous owner said that he has never driven it on the street. He started it up from time to time. I think the last time it was even fired was approximately 2 years ago, and that was pretty much in the driveway. So he's pretty much started it up every now and then, rode it up and down the driveway, and parked it in the garage, left it sit outside in the drive, all that good stuff. According to him, the motor has been replaced or rebuilt, I believe he said. He said the motor has been rebuilt, so we don't know yet if this is the original motor or if this is just another motor they rebuilt and put in there, or just another motor that they spray painted and tossed in there. So that's one thing we're gonna have to figure out. Right now I'm going to the car wash because this thing is absolutely filthy, and before we put it in the garage to work on it, we're gonna have to blow off some of the age off of it. So let's go spray this off real quick. Well, that looks better-ish. Really brought out that blue paint that's been smeared all over this thing. Didn't see this before. It looks like some, I don't know what that is. Probably shouldn't touch it. Oh, more blue paint there. Made the wheels look nice. Every Corvette needs a set of white lettered Goodyear Eagle STs on it. This is a Stingray. Here's a motor. Well, you can't see much in there. It's a little bit dark. Well, let's get this to the shop and get her unloaded. Okay, we got him back over here to Street Rat Garage Worldwide Headquarters. So now we're just going to pull him off the trailer, get him stuffed inside, and leave him there. Okay, we got her inside the shop. Now we have to go through her and see all the 100,000 things that it's probably going to need. But on this particular car, we're not going to do all that. We're going to get it running and driving, maybe stopping, put about half of the systems back online, make sure some stuff works. Turn signals, headlights, maybe. Wipers, possibly. It'd be nice to just make this go down the road a little bit and then send her on the way to somebody that wants to finish it, because that's not what we do here. We don't finish cars. We just dig them out of their graves, revive them, and send them on their way. It's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. Well, we're back here in the shop with the C3. We're going to go ahead and go over it and see what all needs to be done to this car to at least make it roadworthy. We're not going to restore this car by any means, because I don't do that. But I want to get it on the road, maybe pass it on to somebody else, let them finish it. So let's have a look and see what all we need to do on this car. I guess we can start off with this headlight right here. Obviously it's missing. Let's bring you guys in here and go over this real quick. Okay, let's see. First of all, we'll start here at the front. We got chunks out of the fiberglass. It looks like somebody bumped into something, probably right there. This looks more like just pulling it in and out of the garage more than anything. Little body line issue right here. This seems to be pushed up, this panel. So that's not even. I'm sure that's probably from being bumped on a few times. Did I say the headlight? I said the headlight already, but there's some. Of course, these are in the up position, probably because of vacuum fill. On the hood, as you can see, there's some damage and some lifting separation from the main panel. It's from the base, so that needs to be addressed, but probably by somebody else. This car was originally a green. I can't remember the name of the green. Forest Gump green, but it's been resprayed. The respray is really good. This has been door jammed really good. I cannot see green underneath any of the trim pieces at all. Even in the chips here, I can't see the green. This may have been stripped down and repainted. That would be a really big task to undertake. But the paint code says it's green. Green with a tan interior. It still retains the tan interior, what's left of it. This door is a problem. This is probably the biggest problem on the car. This panel is separating from the body structure. It would probably be so much easier just to get another door, because it's also damaged here. Somebody probably whacked the mirror in the garage, I imagine. That was not a remote mirror. It was just a stationary manual hand adjust mirror. Let's see, anything else we got on the exterior? Oh, the hood here. Might be easier just to replace this hood too. I mean, you can probably pick these up for a couple $100, $200-300. Probably beat the 6 hours of body work it would take to fix that hood. Okay, let's have a look underneath the hood and see what we have. Well, this is not going to be the original motor for this car. There are no numbers on this pad. If you look, this pad is smaller and it's not stamped like the original motor should have in it. Let's see if we can see the numbers in the back. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to look for some numbers and report back. So it appears I only have the rear block numbers on this. I don't see any information on the front. Not sure I guess they went away with the data tag on the front of the block. But the rear numbers was 140-10207, which comes back to a 1980 to 1985 350. That was in cars and trucks. It could have been a 2-bolt or 4-bolt motor, so we don't know that. It seems to sport a whopping 175 horsepower, but does have 245 foot-pounds of torque, which is 5 more foot-pounds of torque than the 1973 data plate is indicating. So I guess this might not be a numbers matching car, but probably around the same horsepower and torque rating. So I guess no harm. So we lose a little something by not having a numbers matching engine in this. But let's see if we can't move on and get this thing to fire up at least to see what we have. Let's go ahead and check the brakes. I have to put my gloves on. It is only like 30 degrees, 28 to 30 degrees out here right now, but don't let that stop you from working on cars. You can always bundle up. Once you get to working on them, you warm up a little bit. So that's not an excuse. Just because it's cold outside is not an excuse for you not to get out and work on your car. So I've got a brake leak somewhere. Let's see if I got some brake fluid. Put it in there and see if it falls out someplace. That's about 3/4 of the way full. Should be enough to let us know if, well, it's leaking. It's not in there, so it must be leaking. Well, there's no fluid on the ground. I'm pumping it and pumping it. It's not falling out, but it's not building up any pressure at all. It should build up at least a little pressure, even though the reservoir was pretty dry. The pedal was real hard. I couldn't push it down and then it broke free, so probably it's still inside of the master cylinder. And it's just going to the ground no matter how much I pump it. Okay, what's next? Let's check the oil. Make sure it's got some oil in the motor. Where is the dipstick? Okay, so I can't find the dipstick because there is no dipstick to find. They didn't put one in when they put the motor. We don't know how much oil we have, if any, in this car, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just drain the oil out, go get 5 quarts of oil and put back in, and then we'll know how much oil we have in this car. So I'm not gonna try to start it not knowing how much oil that we have in the vehicle. We may have too much, we may have too little, it may be full of gas, it may be full of water, we don't know. So that's unexpected. Let's drain the oil. Well, I just pulled the oil plug. 0 oil in this. So, don't know why, but probably not a good thing, and really a good thing that we didn't try it first, just in case this is still good and for some weird reason they drained the oil, because the oil plug was not tight. So I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. Let's go get some oil. Let's put it in here, crank it over, see what happens. Not a good start. So I got the oil. I went to O'Reilly's and just bought the cheapest thing I could find. This is just 5W30 because it is really cold outside and I just wanted to buy the thinnest stuff I could get. So I'm just going to pour this down and see what happens. Worst case scenario, I just spent like $17 to find out if the motor's bad. That's one bad thing about not hearing a car run. You don't know what's really going on. But you always buy the car at a price point that you can fix these things. Always buy the car thinking that there's something major wrong with it. Just as long as there's no major rust on the frame, everything else can be taken care of relatively easy. But I did find the dipstick. It was in the passenger compartment. Like the oil pan, it's all chrome and does not look like it's been in the vehicle for a very long time. It's kind of rusty. No oil, not even any residue. So I do not know if that was ever installed. That could be just rust from sitting in the car because T-tops leak. Well, about time to give it a test and see if she turns over. Well, I can't give it a test right now because I forgot. Somebody lost the key to this car. This came with it, was inside the car, so we're gonna have to install the ignition switch first before we can even turn this over. I don't even know if this has power. It was supposed to have been ran 2 years ago, but I don't know. So let's put an ignition switch in real quick. And done. I don't like filming putting it back together because I always drop something and that never goes well. Pro tip, if you're going to do this kind of thing, clean the car first, so that way when you drop the little screw you can find it a lot easier instead of digging through all this dirt. Okay, on to the next thing. We got to see if this will turn over. We'll take a few more hits here. working by herself. One more timing. Sounds like there's a misfire, so we're probably going to need some new spark plugs. Well, looks like she's going to run. Definitely has a miss in it. Definitely has some really old, nasty looking spark plugs in it. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just fire it up one more time, just to make sure, just because I like to. It's got a little bit of heat into it now, so she should fire up. Give this a try real quick. There she goes. Well, that's better. So we know the fuel pump's working now. So we need some spark plugs. We need a master cylinder. And what else do we need? Spark plug, master cylinder. Something else. I'll think of that. I'll put it here. There it is. We need that. So let's get this jacked down. I want to test the transmission while she's going to run. Well, she runs and she moves, does not stop at all. There's zero brakes, no emergency brake, no regular brakes, nothing. So I was just easing it in and out of reverse and drive in order not to run right out the front door or hit the back, because it's idling really high. Probably some vacuum leaks. So I'm gonna wrap it up for today. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna make a list, like the master cylinder and the spark plugs, all those other parts that we need, and we'll come back again in the next episode and start putting some more parts on this. But at least we know what we're working with. We don't have to replace the engine. I was a little bit worried about that when I pulled the drain plug and there was absolutely no oil in it. So we're gonna do that. Plugs, wires. Now the wires look good. Actually, the plugs were probably replaced, but they're like 15 years old. They're new 15-year-old plugs. We seem to have oil pressure. We need some hose clamps for the radiator. It doesn't have any of those on there. We need to put the fan belt on. We need to put the fan on the radiator as well. There's a list of things we have to do on this. So that'll wrap it up for this episode of Street Rat Garage. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, because I need some more subscribers. Got like 5, I don't know. Until next time.